Listen up, presented by Dempsey's and Sportsland. Ryan, they did it. They did it. And get this. This is the 28th straight NCAA women's tournament opening round game. Wins 20. The UConn wins 28 straight NCAA women's tournament opening round games, routing Mercer 83-38. A lot to go over, just a little bit amount of time, Ryan. Kristen Williams, man, she came out firing on the offense. I liked the way she looked running the ball up and down the floor. And then, of course, go figure. How about Dorka Juhas? A double-double, Ryan. 10 rebounds, 10 points. Oh, man. So much to get into. There's a lot of comments on the last video I want to read off to you because it's in reference to this game today. Ryan, I predicted 80 to 56. Now, I was right around. They scored 83, but that defense really shut Mercer down. They couldn't even get up to 40. So it's looking very good. And then of course your Florida Gators play today, getting ready to come up at 3:30. I mean, go figure. If UCF loses, Gators face the Huskies.
Yeah, out of all the teams they could have been playing for the next round, they could be playing my Gators. But today, just another fantastic showing from the UConn Huskies, absolute routing of the Mercer Bears. And it's what me and you expected. It's what we talked about, that there's just too much experience, just too much firepower on UConn and for their offense. Olivia Nelson-Adota, great game from her, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 4 Huskies in double digits. And looking at the box score now, Paige Becker has actually started the game. I'm not sure how many minutes she played. I wasn't able to watch the game, and it's not updated yet. But she had 12 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. So 5 of 7 shooting as well. So it looks like that Paige Beckers has found her shot, and it seems like she's playing pretty well. And it's a great time for her to kind of get her momentum back. Yeah, and like you mentioned with Kristen Williams, she played great again. She's played great all season long. And yeah, I mean, it's just another showing of, and Mercer, just another showing of UConn's defense. Mercer shot 23% from the field and only 25% from three. So just an offensive and defensive onslaught from UConn today.
Yeah, and we talked about how this team is going to be so hard. I believe Jamie commented on the last video. We'll get to that comment in a minute because she was or maybe it was somebody else commented about how AZ Fudd should play longer. Gino should give her more minutes on the court. And we obviously that's a given. I mean, we know that. I mean, because we talked about, it's like a younger version of Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, right? Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd. So, and we get treated to this duo on the floor for the rest of this year in March Madness, and of course the next 2 years to come, as long as Paige Beckers doesn't stay longer than 2 years. But yeah, I mean, just talk a little bit about how hard it is to defend and the transition up and down the court. I mean, it seems like whether you're going to bring on full court pressure, or you're going to play shallow all the way at the other end of the court, there's just no answers right now to stop UConn. And we love to predict, right? We love to predict. I love to predict. I know you do. It's like, okay, when is it actually going? Do you think it's actually going to be competition for the Huskies in the second round? Do you think it's going to come in the Sweet 16? Do you think it's going to come in the Elite Eight? And you had to question that, or is it never going to come? That's another option. So when do they find some competition, some close games, or does it never come?
Yeah, I mean, for the next round, if it's either UCF or Florida, I don't see much competition for UConn there. And then in the Sweet 16, of course, if the higher seeds win and Indiana does advance, they would have to play Indiana. They've been pretty solid all season long, but I don't really see a challenge for UConn until the Elite Eight game, assuming NC State, the 1 seed in Bridgeport, does make it to the Elite Eight with UConn. Then I think we're in for a pretty good treat, a pretty good game. I think that the game's going to be pretty competitive. NC State's a team that's been in the AP poll top 5 all season long. They've been really solid for really the past 5 years. It seems like they always get to the Elite Eight and sometimes even the Final Four. So, and then we've talked about it again. They'd have to play another 1 seed in Stanford in the Final Four. And then in the championship game, they could play South Carolina. So I think if UConn makes it to the Elite Eight, I think that's when they're going to have to play their best game from then on out to be able to beat these really elite teams.
Well, congratulations again to Mercer. They had one heck of a season. Susie Gardner, the school's 10th women's basketball head coach in, it looks like, program history. So again, she did very well. I believe they won their conference, Ryan, SoCal conference.
Yeah, they did. They had a great year. Yeah.
Again, congratulations to them. They really have some big names on the roster. I really liked it. Up until halftime, they went down by 20, I believe. And again, but after, excuse me, after, and of course, did you see? Let's just praise this for a second. And I know UConn Huskies fans will love this. And it might be talked about all the way up until what is the next game, Monday. Ryan, I don't think we saw this yet. You might not even have recognized it yet. The Mercer Bears were held. Guess how many points in the third quarter?
Yeah, zero. I was just going to say that. I just
Zero.
saw that on the box score. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
I'd love to know. You all tell us, you all listening to this podcast, I'd love to know. Don't have time to look it up now. Has the UConn Huskies ever done that before? Has the women's basketball program ever held a team scoreless in one quarter? That would be something to look up. I wouldn't be surprised if it already happened, but oh man, I mean, we're starting to see stuff that, you just can't make this stuff up.
No, you can. And you think of all the great things that this UConn team has done over Gino, and you think they've pretty much broken all the records. And here's something we don't usually see. So,
yeah.
And I'd also like to know how big of a run they went on, because in the third quarter alone, they've obviously went on a 20-0 run. So just incredible. And we've seen that in another game, a couple other games before, where you think the opposing team, the UConn's playing, is getting a little bit of momentum, and all of a sudden UConn just locks down on defense and goes on an insane offensive run, and that's when they really just start to pull away.
Yeah. All right, time for comments for Ryan, and then we will head on out, and we will take a close look at the matchup for UConn coming up in the second round. I can't wait to see this game, UCF in Florida, to see who they face next. We'll break that one down for you all and try to not only get a game recap out, but also come on with a preview, Ryan. And we know we have some other hot topics to debate. You and I, it's funny, you and I attended the Maryland game. How about Maryland putting up 102? Did they put 102
unbelievable
points?
Game.
No one else did that. No one else did that in the whole nation, Ryan. And I heard about Maryland head coach, help me out here,
Brenda Freese.
Brenda Freese talked about in a press conference. I believe it was a couple of days before that matchup that they had against Delaware. And she was talking about this is the healthiest that this team has ever been. Chloe Bibby was looking good in the second half of that ball game that we went down yesterday. So, Ryan, again, it's always – now, usually you just can't say, okay, this might be the team that wins it all because they scored the most points in one game. You never know what the opposing team is going to come out and bring at you, right? You once with second round, Sweet 16 comes. But again, I was told Delaware was pretty good. I mean, these teams, hey, if you make March Madness, you're good. All right.
Yeah.
Let's just agree with that. But again, I mean, that was pretty eye-popping to see them score over 100 points. The only team to do it in the nation so far.
Yeah, and then Iowa scoring 98 with Caitlin Clark is still playing unbelievable for Iowa. And then the game before the Maryland game came on, we got to see the South Dakota State, Florida Gulf Coast and Virginia Tech. That was a really
Another
good game.
Upset.
If you guys saw that, what an upset!
And that was remember I told you when they brought the bracket out, or when they had Selection Sunday, they were talking. I believe it was that team they were talking about. And go figure, we had no clue that we would be able to have the big honor, and we were lucky enough to see Florida Gulf Coast beat Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
But I think that's the team they were talking about on ESPN about. That's the hottest 3-point shooting team in the nation, Florida Gulf Coast. So, but I'm like, oh, right, man, Ryan, I'm worried about my Terps. He said, nah, Phil, Brendan Freese will have them ready.
Man, and they sure did look like it yesterday. They took about 33s, and I think they made it probably around 18 of them. I've never we were laughing at the game because I've never seen a team. It seemed like throughout the whole first half they were just looking. Their whole offense was centered around the 3-point shot, and Virginia Tech just couldn't stop it. It was definitely really fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's all you could do. Every time Florida Gulf Coast drained a three, all you could do was laugh. That's all Ryan. That's all I heard, a giggle out of Ryan. So, but yeah, man, what a fun time. And of course, we'll be back down there for the second round tomorrow, Ryan, 3:00, I believe. So let's get to the comments, Ryan, and then we'll head on out. This is from the last episode, UConn Huskies last check-in before their first round matchup. Ryan, we'll start it out with Grobel. Grobel says, going to be a several double-digit seeds win because there are a many mediocre P5 conference teams that the committee overseeded. Oh, wow. So okay.
Yeah, Power Five conference teams, and I
Right.
think I watched the selection show where they picked all 64 teams or 68 teams, and they were talking about there was a little debate about over Texas and Baylor about the number 1 and 2 seeds they should be flipped, and a couple other things they were kind of discussing. So it's hard for the committee. I couldn't imagine being on that committee. And trying to seed all those teams. So I don't know how they do it, but I know that every single year there's always some controversy that comes up between the seeding.
Michael Lawson, I understand, but number 1, this is UConn women's basketball, and number 2, you have Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers is the best player and the biggest distraction in college basketball. Some players on the opposing team may go after Paige, while others may be starstruck.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes UConn so special because they're such a deep team. They have 8 or 9 really, really great players on this team. So, we saw Paige starting today, but even if she does come off the bench, there's 4 other teammates on the floor with her that are also spectacular and can shoot the ball and play defense really, really well. So Paige Beckers definitely has a lot of teammates around her. And like we said before, she doesn't have to score 25 and 30 points anymore for UConn to blow these teams out. And we saw that today.
Okay, running out of time. Austin says running out of time. Two more, Austin. Jamie Centrella. She goes, only the games ahead matter for this team. Some people just hate others' success.
Yeah.
A Creighton upsets over Iowa would be mint.
Yeah, and I believe Creighton did win yesterday, so we should get that matchup tomorrow between Creighton and Iowa. So yeah, but we talked about that a little bit yesterday with all the success that UConn has. There's definitely a lot of fans, but there's also definitely a lot of haters out there for sure.
And thanks to Jamie Centrell again for coming through. That means a lot, if you know what I mean, Jamie. So thank you. And the last one, Ryan, Tate Cruz. Tate Cruz goes, Gino should give AZ Fudd more playing time. This is the one I was talking about, Ryan. Tomorrow's game, because AZ Fudd is one, I'm quoting from him, one hell of a good defensive and offensive player.
Yeah, she is. And she stayed in the starting lineup, and I'm pulling up the minutes now. It looks like she got 19. So a little bit less from what we saw in the Big East tournament. It looks like Paige did play 24. So that's about 9 or 10 more minutes than what we saw her getting in the Big East tournament. So, but it still looks like the minutes got split around amongst the players pretty evenly. Kristen Williams played 28, which is the most, but for the most part, it seems like Gino is spreading the minutes around to everybody, and it seems to be working out so far. It seems like to be the recipe for success for this team.
And how about, let's just go to one more, because this is really, really short and sweet. Pert Knappy, whatever his username is, he goes UConn Baylor final. That's it. He already had. We're going game by game. This person is predicting the final for you, Ryan. So there, Ryan can think about that in his sleep while he's eating breakfast. You can think about that for a while because we have a while until April, Ryan. So, but he's telling you already how it is. UConn Baylor final. And I told you that would be pretty darn exciting. Can you imagine Nikki Collin against Gino Auriemma, and with Nikki Collin bringing in that WNBA experience to the NCAA? That would be pretty darn fun to watch. I wouldn't mind that, really.
No, I wouldn't either. And I know I've been talking about the rematch that we could see between South Carolina and UConn, but I certainly wouldn't mind seeing that final as well between Baylor and UConn.
Let's get to watching this Florida Gators game. Ryan, you a little nervous? Are you okay?
No, I'm okay. UConn
okay.
already
All right.
won.
I just want to make sure I didn't need to come up to your house or anything to calm you down here. Connor says, do not spill any Doritos, Cheetos, anything.
I will try my best. No promises. All
that put away. Connor, that's a shout out to you on that one. All right, Ryan, UCF, Florida Gators. We're going to get to watching that game right now, 3:30 on the dot. So let's head out of here. Ryan, we can't wait for round 2. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.